Starlight above Virginia, bright as the moon is full. I'm sending these lines to you amid a battle lull. Yesterday we won a skirmish, tomorrow I cannot tell, but that I love you always, through heaven and through hell. Like our first ride together to the river's gravel shore, we vowed to never be apart, and I'll not let this war separate us one moment longer than the sound of victory's bell. Until then, only stronger, through heaven and through hell. Love, I'll be returning. You'll hear your horse's hoofs. He'll carry me fast to you, toward that he truly loves. Be sure he'll lead us safely. I pray my mare as well. Soon, sure we'll again be riding through heaven and through hell. After the battle at First Manassas, we hoped the war would be over. But we went a whole long another year, found ourselves back in the same field, on the shores of Bull Run. This is where I met Clara Barton. She helped me spread an acre bed of busted bales, amid horrifying whimpers, shrieks, and agonizing wails. Veteran captains, greenhorn stragglers, fighting generals, city boys, sprawled across the straw like cast-off, broken toys, sharing in the promise of the blessed sacraments, sons and fathers bonded in eternal permanence, surgeons cut and saw in shade of clumps of trees, limbs stacked like brush piles by the stumps of amputees, flesh not spared, achieving spiritual liberation, proclaiming valid our true transformation. We work under the gun and she beneath the cross. Words can't count all she's done to comfort all our loss. The sermoners have summoned us to heed the call, cowering safe yon range of cannon shot and musket ball. Let the presbyters perform this daring duel. We'll stand by seconds each, a gaping fool, like idiots overjoyed at the great raggedy parade. Lusty drummers barely yielding to the bagpipers that played, mourning for the gone for good and merely missing. Wives and daughters searching memories for the shadow they're kissing. At once drafted, first formal anthem and the final hymn. Ill-grafted twigs wilting from a barren, shriveled stem, leaving me the non-combatant in most enviable position. Faith-feared real guard, half-hearted mortician. Feeling I've been 3 days facing forests of fire, seeming endless on my hands and knees, in utter fervence, earnest in desire, a sign that heaven may regard my pleas. Must have aged a year for ever fear-filled hour. Crazy-looking engine, sun-white hair and red-burned skin, nostrils filled like milk pails, gone a sudden sour. Strong now with that without, what must be left within. Gal, I swear, ain't none like you but little Clara. Prying lead shot with a penknife, setting bones and sewing stitches, imbued with grace indeed, Abraham's dear Sarah. Smiles, unsealing spells of 1,000 dread war witches. My little darling worked knee-deep in mud, consoling us with courage while the bullets sing, even up to elbows in a muck of clay and blood, using her own skirt tails for a tourniquet or sling. the angel of the battlefield, unencumbered by a wing. Amazing, awesome, quiet, gentle, patient clerk, sturdy as an operating table, tireless, rivaling men not half so fit to work, where the shells burst, run for cover, while she's able to stand fast, unfazed, holding strong, legs stable. Making the most of scant medicines and slim provisions, struggling to keep calm, as in a terrifying dream. Still arriving, tattered men, ripped up divisions. We're pulling on like horses in a team, surmounting every mountain, not balking at the raging stream. Order sent with self-assurance to those bold enough to risk it. Steel-stomached Tennesseans move on bacon bits and scratch a biscuit. Unsuspecting hurricane of death starts with a grievous gale. Communications and supply lines cut with wire and rail. Hill's rugged divisions strike with speed of jagged light. Stuart's horsemen pound and rumbling, violent thunder in the night. Yanks disarmed of dinnerware and plates yet warm when captured. Scarce a moment spared for rest and rare, brief rebel rapture. Stonewall sets out aimless on a summer evening ramble, not letting on the stakes set in the general's great gamble, owing to the depths of his most secretive deception, and the hindquarter command's well-proved, impoverished perception. Not heeding the serpent bayonets and clattering tail wag, sending out young children to put the rattler in the bag. Men would give a year living for an hour in shaded hammock, trade a decade for a day long wading in the Rappahannock. Destitute of shoes, not to mention pants or socks, out of bullets, fought with gun butts and big rocks. Well water, cold packed ham doled out by faithful Southern sisters, remembered as they lay exposing, burning, bleeding blisters. Suffering in the stifling heat, holding the line though faint and tiring, then reinforced with Longstreet's solid columns of Southern iron. Quick, so quick from green to ripe and turn to harvest fall, Black Hat Indian and Strawfoots answer to the trumpet call. Each side acknowledging in truth the message of his lords, is sent out with the gospel of relentless rebel hordes. Ambulances creaking, crawling, clogging mangled roads, moving like wounded horses with our moaning loads. What began beneath the blood-red sun, done under orange glowing Mars. In dying daylight, second Bull Run, disastrous victory, not ours. Flesh unspared of humans and of horses, our bravest hearts squandered of yet bolder blood. Slaughter spent in schizophrenic, frenzied forces, the Yank Dam Creek flowing like a flood. Pillaged, yet unaged spirits of our new nation. A moment, all hope deserted, blank memory most disturbing. Troops march on, leaving carnage and utter desolation, wasted on Manassas sands like kegs of southern bourbon. The first day, I descended with the dead. The next, digging like infantry for feudal protection. The third up, gathering morsels like bushels of bread. Faith born upon assurance of resurrection. Here I have met my master and my maker. what well known already learn more sure. Here I have let my tasks unto the taker. Thank God the promise sent a comforter, effective, efficient, timely, namely her. She laughed in disillusion and derision. All fight, all equal right, all equal sure. Attributing to higher powers the results of mortal decision, not patient for some wind-blown comforter. I, intent on many mercies, learned in her. We worked, that chance, that joy, what grace may save. She sent lame men walking, splints bound secure. Their liberty, our victory, one less grave. And she always seeking a warm comforter. We can't count all these souls consoled in her. A quiet day neath mild September sun. No cannon roar, no Yankees on the run. The wounded carted off to Washington. We may say our work here now is done. I've covered all I could reclaim to bury. I'll spend another week if I may tarry. My Clara's wagon bound for Harper's Ferry. My grief now more than these shoulders can carry. Men died, not of wounds, but neglect, of chill and thirst. Many recovered at last, had we but found at first. Swelling with remorse and rage, my spirit nearly burst. My heart, though sure to heal, so tender nursed. Her presence a miraculous surprise, her gifts of grace and stores of dire supplies. Her strong compassion flowed out of her eyes. We all left indebted, most humble, more wise. Her energy more powerful than my work-worn fists. Each man lost, placed, careful on her endless list. She, the hero of this folly, I must insist she be revered, first, crowned, and kissed. The trial at Harper's Ferry. The sky so blue as though I slept till noon. Sunshine bright but mirrored off the moon. A dream had left me shocked and shook in fear. I wished you'd not gone on and left me here, scattered like stars across the silent sky, the countless children of our dear Sarai. I heard a trump blast like a shepherd's call, the sons of Abram sudden start to fall. I found myself stuck down a shallow well, left helpless in the bottom of that hell. Upon me heaped the shells of 60 souls, struggling up the wet, thick, rock-walled hole, climbing tangled limbs like a cypress ladder, weighed down in agonizing grief, none sadder. Men of my regiment, like canned herring packed, tore up when wild-ribbed coyotes attacked. You stood amid the mess on a tidy farm, a man you just had saved, shot in your arms. I grabbed my shovel, not to turn until, pressed against my southern soul, set now to kill. Straight through crossfire with slim hickory-handled shield, like on water sprinting o'er the blue-clad field. Rebel boys not yet well drilled in common sense, firing from cover behind a rotten two-rail fence. New conscript aiming ancient New England gun, too awestruck to reload, not given time to run. His cohorts withheld their shot, amazed in admiration, unarmed border against the great warriors of the nation. The boy, barely 14, a steady shot and no dull tool, and all innocent but following the will of well-placed fools. Pushed to nail his head flush, spade raised like my hammer, cracking accent blurting, stuttering southern stammer. I drawed a bead, I swear I had him dead to right. Dang decrepit barrel, old warp lead too light. Never knowed the way the blue bull monster moved. Not his own strength, but powered of the gal you love. Awoke in shock, the nightmare, vivid, real as life. Terrorized the threats you're facing in this insane strife. Apocalypse set on the altar among merging streams. Unhinged, knowing visions, often proven more than dreams. Blue furrows rose and fell, dark rolling ocean waves, blank dominoes toppling, perfect, impersonal unison, predisposed to tilt toward yet darker graves, plans laid out straight leading right to pandemonium. Recruits resupplied, scavenging ammo, shoes, and guns, walking wounded, outstepping hungover stretcher bearers and grumbling loafers, last for the fight, first on the run. Energetic doers prevail over lame, mute, unmoved hearers. The battlefield silent, but for echoes of their scream. We lost not for want of will, led of men bereft of brains. I, among the Confederate sons all spared in a dream. I must find you for safety, what left, what strength remains. Foreseeing calamity soon, yet greater than this, send at least to stall, if not stop it all from happening. Re-enlist on that same promise, a long-awaited kiss. Yet further, though, closer to you in our cozy cabin. Farewell, Virginia, free now, warring host. Maryland, rebel-hearted Maryland, unite in faith, led of elusive faith and the Holy Ghost. Strength mustered in truth, of every word Christ saith. I've left Virginia and crossed the Potomac to Maryland. The gorgeous countryside makes me miss you more. The Rebs have plundered our stores and are well outfitted, intent on the ultimate showdown. Naturally, Claire's ever on the heels of danger, and I'm compelled to re-enlist my aid to the cause. September 12th, 1862. Dear Clara, we're surrounded in this hellhole, Harper's Ferry. I'd hurried on and hoped to meet you here. I confess, an awesome spectacle, but scary. Shells like big old flocks of seagulls flying near. The problem is these cotton-picking ninnies set on low ground in defiance of rules of war. More concerned with proper politics than winning, instead of storming like a hurricane on the shore. We're all shackled by men famed for great inaction. Almost sure the whole darn bunch is in cahoots, giving high ground to the guns of General Jackson, left to pulverize poor targets where he shoots. Oh, to ride along the Shenandoah in full moonlight, right into a morning mist. There's a valley here I'd really love to show you, where my grandparents first fell in love and kissed, and confess too why I stayed to re-enlist. My forefathers left their farms of Conestoga and resettled in this lovely, fertile land. Planned to take time off and really get to know you. Swim and rest like turtles napping in the sand. How I long to rest and hold a friendly hand. Hope this letter finds you well and far from danger, though I know you're going where the gun's most loud. When we met, you never once seemed as a stranger. Like old friends, we found each other in this crowd. Gotta go for now, the guns are way too loud. The battle at Harper's Ferry, September 15th, 1862. Boiling up sweet breakfast coffee, burning tobacco in my bowl. On a Shenandoah Ridge, return for solace for my soul. Shroud of mist a-lifting, underneath the thin smoke screen. New Yorkers 20 days in uniform and summer apple green. Kids left shepherdless and charged to fortify the hills. A warm morning, all frozen up in mortifying chills. Sad scene, so pathetic, trying not to be amused. Abandoned in the thicket by the tired old ewes. Wolf pack on the double, quick and spreading round the path. So close to hear him call and cuss and joke and laugh. To hear the gray dogs yip, near causing me to smile. Scampering under cover, coming at him Injun style. Cool-head veteran marksman get a gift and grin in glee. Lambs exposed alone or cowering three to every tree. Brave lieutenant turns to rally, refusing to meet disgrace. And he set a fine example till a red blew off his face. Thought of trading in my shovel for a tomahawk as the mountains come alive and parrots start to talk. Fools follow fools' commands and put us all in peril. Set a ringed around in woods like fish stuffed in a barrel. Over 10,000 armed men drawn in the lucky lot. Given up to scroungy mutts, no chance to fire a shot. Our colonel sends out surrender, blaming duty for his folly. A southern gunner chanced to blast him with a final volley. And so, old Mousy Miles retires, earning his eternal nap, leaving his entire army with their tails tight in a trap. For Stuart's cavaliers, it was enough to vex a saint. 1,000 mounts supposed to be here, dang it, they ain't. Escaped neath the shroud of midnight clouds, thick cover woven dark. Stretched 10 miles on the trail, lit only by their horse hoof sparks. Senseless setting in the stew while men and shells explode. Evidence the way they went, scattered all along John Brown's road. How we got left in this jam to most beyond belief. Received reprieve, paroled, yet the respite, the greater relief. The victors all can celebrate the spoils of uniforms and food. Our guns give up, our pass to home, we shared the festive mood. Old Miles had done a last good deed, so many minutes spared. The work I missed, the ground I kissed, that old brave heart truly cared. Making my way east, then north, your war horse the most impressive mount. When terms give up surrender, ragged gravediggers don't count. Tickled by the reaction, though those Yanks not much amused. Give up to our rustic general, head shade that a beggar had refused. Splendid range, color signaling crisp, early fall. Your horse led me to take a rest upon a red stone wall. Desolate, war littered yesterday, 1,000 souls fell. Old farmer, grimed and grinning, mortar and rock on his well. Lazy Federals found a hole convenient to stash the dead. He took their place and filled the space for only $1 a head. Looking on me, shameful sadness showed, as if hearing my spirit wail. My nightmare starting up again, as vivid in each detail. Long the low mountain ridge, a shallow granite chasm, busting up the stonework, revealing expressions in various spasms. Words cannot begin to say the sickening sight and smell, as one vain imagine opening the entry to hell. Each man recovered, lay down along this hill. Each soldier a stone, too heavy for humans to carry. The burden of grief rivaling the weight of each boy I bury. 60 stones and left alone. Haughty silence, shrill in the air. Prayers for many spared, for miles that cared, and Lord, did I find Claire. The battle at Antietam. Set sunrise side the stream as for a game of ball. Imbued in amber hues, subdued but imminent fall. Rumbling, drowning out the song of bird and drummer, heralding the slow secession of a southern summer. Finally found common ground for decisive debate. McClellan mapping strategy of Confederate fate. Content to send a script and watch as each scene pass. Respectably distant, gazing through his opera glass. Aloof, his actors placed to please the eccentric director. Lee, close with his men, instilling confidence in a divine protector. Jackson and Longstreet in charge of lines, practicing on projection. Clara, calming the carnage, warding off despair and fatal infection. The pit filled with our heroes, a glorious secession. Orchestrating hail of ball and buck, riotous audience, surges of depression, laid out as for adornment, our national treasure. Poised about the runway, for slaughter in equal measure. Fighting Joe Hooker charges, wielding a merciless scythe. Man-tall cornstalks and red boys, ground leveled at the flailing knife. Jackson called Hood's Texans from the first meal in 3 days. Annoyed at the intermission, attacked with zeal and a rabid craze. Longstreet, still in his slippers, chewing an unlit cigar, cool amid the chaos. Left, right, too close, too far. Napoleon's ranging in, fatal bullseyes and plowing plunkers, singing toward abandoned chapel of the Pacific Dunkers. At all cost, hold the harvest trail to the grist mill crushing grain. They paid, they held, and there they fell, and filled the sunken bloody lane. Forward, the battery started, exploding in sheets of flame. Glorious day for the preacher, all calling on Jesus' name. Shredding and shrieking in hellish hail, men falling dozens on dozens. Deep Union blue, butternut blend, where, whatever reason they've chosen. Instants, meaning life or death, garbled in flapping flags. Courageous boys a floundering, haltered by death-bound nags. Tragic loss of soul, undiscerned neath the fog of war. Yea, the wind may blow, while the hurricane slams on the shore. Clouds rise from nowhere, Pharaoh's locust, the federal host, appear in sudden in fury, still full strength as the storm on the coast. Horrid strings unrelenting, famished earth must be fed. Quenched equally as sudden, landscape turning entirely red. Hooker bled pale, but surviving the dismal, desperate day. The harvest a heavy toll, beyond huge heaps of hay. Leaving the field full fertile, next season, reward of our toil. Men had to pass over retreating and feet not touching the soil. Our grand design, the plan that won Manassas, will to win in Edna war, led behind limping jackasses. Dogged, unsparing in driblets to color the masterly blunder. Victory grasped in valor, wise to withhold overwhelming number. Jackson enjoyed a prize Antietam peach. The lesson professed, received well as he could teach. Though danger dare venture the works of a general's mind, his ultimate goal fulfilled. This day, God has been kind. We've sent our sons unto senseless sacrifice, put forth of our own hand at ultimate price. His power hath not ceased that boils the blood. Souls at once separate, immersed in perpetual flood. I dug and dug, the wet, soft soil relinquished, except in fallen grain. Digging, yet in my toil I couldn't work past the pain. Shoveling, never labored near the burden compressing me now to write of how we lost the major. I responsible somehow. The woods and fields plowed to ruin, herds of damn starved feral hogs. From the savage constant sunder, heads and limbs like cats and dogs. In the carnage and the chaos, man-made storm and God's pure air, the hurricane not half so torturous, vague battle lines distinctly clear. Barely making out her features, specter formed in blood and soot, strongest, gentlest of earth's creature, crust officer without a foot. Running across blue sea of soldiers, wet ears, grass green, thick to mow. Through the maelstrom to help and hold her, Lord, I never run so slow. Heard a gunshot. Son of Gideon. Time stood still. I can't believe. Little rebel from the woodlot so close it ripped right through her sleeve. In my hand, still had my shovel raised like giant tomahawk. Rushed the boy behind the cordwood. Oh, the horror. Heard him talk. Strapping kid of Carolina, point blank range with buck and ball. Shovel crushed to send him homeward, and I heard our angel call. Paralyzed, I recognized him, me, much younger, my son. Realized the power of mercy. Finally, my nightmare is done. Put the lost lamb on my shoulder, back toward our saving grace. Childlike, never man was bolder. Cannonball and me to race. In that strange and hour-long moment, solid shot, I had to dive. Croaking in the violent movement, his young heart come back alive. Well, the major might have made it, but to call, she turned and stopped. Straight through hell she yelled to save us, spared the instant he dropped. Caught twin cannon, our own colors, canister had cut him low, then raked of our own New Yorkers, frantic fire on friend and foe. Thus the end of my nemesis and rival. The whole affair just out and out pure weird. As time and time again, another miracle. Clara trimmed his uniform and cleaned his beard. A man with a mirrored box stole his impression. We got him wrapped in linen and well-dried pine. In a restful pose, captured his peaceful expression. I just imagined the color troubling mine. This could be called the Battle of the Hills. AP charged as if in a magic charm. DH took up a gun and led a valiant thrill. 1,000 infantry cringed at the alarm. The red-shirt general moved as in a spell. Sun stalled in the sky, delayed till his arrival, just as your horse led me to the wisest well. My prayer for me moments later to mean survival. Your war horse steady through the whole ordeal. The red boy still in shock but on the mend. And many more stories too fantastic to reveal. As soon as I've time to write, I promise to send. Rest well in peace, O Major, God we trust. Enrich our sons, though we but fading fables. The creek, an iron flow of reddish rust. Pigeons scattered far from shaded gables. Clellan, lacking clarity in commuting the execution. Lee's eased on, barely rippling the midnight river. The quarry fully pardoned, irresolute absolution. A trophy severely crippled but not delivered. Yet we'd gained this game, the stakes stood high. All hands dealt, met with blows of most voracious violence. Losses, uncounted scores, slung up in the sky. Chorus in perfect concert of more perfect silence. Well-led Texans assailed in demonic vengeance. Unfed Georgians trailing and no less subtle. The ultimate debate left off mid-somber sentence. Not taking well points exclaimed in the last rebuttal. Blues, by the hundreds lost, put up to gain 1,000 yards. Even old Majors folded and cashed in his chips. Red Rebel Bluff cost dearly his best card. Purple lilac on his heart, his prayer upon our lips. Rest well in peace, O Major, God we trust. America endowed, grave lessons made in fables. Along the Copper Creek now all is hushed. The pigeons settled back in shaded gables. Texas Brigade had called. Let Hood lead to the fate impending. Lee sent him on ahead, arrest meanwhile suspending. They're most still in the woods, long after the ruckus ending. Righteous angels appearing for battle and not scared to knock the devil out of each other if they dared. Shot, crossing lines and places higher powers prepared. Though looking on death, the Texans wouldn't yield. Denewed in winds of war upon the field. True countrymen and my past visions now revealed. Horrors of night, bursting bombs sent haystacks afire. Exhausted wounded at once find protection in their pyre. Cries over the flames, outreaching ever higher. As for me, hell, shell-shocked ain't the word. Whole season dodging bullets like a fat, slow-flying bird. And now, if this ain't the dangest thing I ever heard. The latest copy bringing presidential proclamation. Not to mention Cherokee and guaranteed emancipation. And now putting a whole new face upon the divided nation. Among great wonders, we witnessed many a miracle and debacle. A slave woman watching got it straight from a running rebel oracle. Today the Yanks give us the devil and next they'll give us hell. Finally, leading my regiment, we charged in to clear the field. Your picture in my breast pocket, still my strength and shield. Never more bountiful harvest, nor more futile purpose I've kneeled. Both sides sending their children, Pennsylvania's Charlie King, and old gray General Mansfield had felt the red-hot hornet sting. The dirge, intolerable to pen, impossible to sing. Powell Hill's men showed up in uniforms, bright new Union blue. Like first Bull Run, Yanks cut in two by men they thought they knew. Never Confederates fought more fierce, nor cause held to more true. Napoleon stilled his looking glass, Campbell Castle safe yond the moat. Though no Reb standing in view, wiring Lincoln, we got their goat. Claire and I taking care of 'em all, no matter what color their coat. Never enough said of our earth angel, upholding me while you can't. Constant support and clarity, lest this record a senseless rant. Bracing me for the nor'easter storm, more I grow toward a southern slant. Men stood and fought and bravely fell. None bolder than her at Antietam. And if the devil was there, we sure done our damnedest to cheat him. And if they put women dressed in the ranks, General Clara would beat 'em. Work day and night amending men. I'm getting good at stitching, helping out what Rebs we can with borrowed food and medicine. 3 human noons, no stall or rest, just constant, sultry sweating. The affair a fresh remembrance, same as moments beg forgetting. You dropped asleep beside me, and I dared not venture moving. Your usefulness unquestioned, and your preciousness well proven. My soul fire burning bright inside, so near to such pure love. Your snoring soft exhaustion, sounding like a morning dove. Evening spent under the stars behind the Poffenberger barn. I woke, still dreaming of my loft and bales of woolen yarn. Nudged you just a bit to turn, retrieving my sleeping arm. Moonlight compelled to walk along the edge of old Sam's farm. You may awake surprised and a bit angry and displeased. The breeze brought something in the air. You shivered and you sneezed. I've left you sleeping neath the chill and covered neath the thirst. I think the color suiting you best, the jacket of General Hill's. I've left you sleeping like a child and covered neath the chills. I think the color suiting you best, the jacket of General Hill's. To the west, gray coats are rising, real hot coffee, not tepid chicory. I skinned some wild cherry and a couple sticks of hickory. Sharpened crosses stuck in dirt point to the 4 directions, placed with Episcopal prayers for gracious mercy and protection. Called to end this strife between hard-hit Reb and stubborn Yankee. Beside the Copper Creek, black viper seeds on a linen hanky. The water filled my moccasins, sewed with white and purple wampum beads. Old tobacco blowed east. Toward the ocean this stream feeds. Up the Rust Creek like a trooper on the double quick, running back to beat the dark red dawn. Moccasins a sloshing and my heart stopped sick. You and my love-loaned horse already gone. Trailing in the glimmer on the morning dew. First fall day arriving, nearly bringing frost. That fast horse already plumb pure out of view. Tracked her down to the Potomac and then lost. Had to laugh out loud the way you had me sprinting. Hoped to be back before you found my note. Already on White Rapids, sunrise goes to glinting. Sure, she's bright enough to lose the coat. No idea what way to turn. River flowing south and east. Good sign if I find you there. My heart may win some peace. Might have headed north and then start up the mountain west. All the hope I cling to. Deep-rooted cedar, cliffside eagle's nest. The sun's up the horizon, I'm just set down in the stream, wedged in rocks, well-needed bath and a cool massage. I close my eyes a moment and then right out of a dream, plunge toward the bank like winning finish and dressage. Little gal, you never mentioned just how beautiful you rode. Thought I was strong, say, this ain't playing fair. You're so full of sweet surprises, and I guess I should have known. I never dreamed to see you letting down your hair. Gal, you're always into action. You have a huge consideration. Makes perfect sense why you're out fence jumping and racing. Thanks for sharing your compassion to the child of the Federation, especially for moving on so fast from the new danger he's a-facing. Some of Porter's men had gone and set their sights on vengeance, tried to make a fine example of our adopted rebel son. He don't cotton to no officer's ideas of strict, unsensible stringence. Out to bag a scrappy rattler, and be danged, they picked a good 'un. A few days ago, they attempted passing this swift, shallow crossing. 250 losses. Men got all shot up or drowned. Shouldn't have to tell these southern cusses don't hanker to no bossing. That's why they're marched here with their guns, to settle up on middle ground. Left some lines for Powell Hill, and certain first he'll check his pocket. Plan to send them with the prisoner to Virginia on parole. He'll be needing his old jacket, and I'm sure he's missed the locket. Like most of us, a miniature picture, biggest treasure for our soul. Now y'all give him all the slip and got him out of quite a pickle, and this is just one more coincidence that keeps me close to God. Should have learned a deep regard for this old river, fast and fickle. Can't wait getting hands on who has whipped him with a rifle ramming rod. Probably some dingbat aristocrat still thinking war is boring. Remember, they're the boys McClellan keeps as bodyguard reserve. All the while, half a mile away, their brother's blood a-flowing. Sent straight in to face the slaughter when their leaders lost their nerve. Gal, I'm giving you a ribbon if you break a stride for slowing. Our horse knows the stream so well, he hardly splashes as he glides. Tell our rebel son farewell, and he's sure been good at knowing. And I'll swear he just hopped up when you went for your morning ride. Could we but lay claim to this isle and fly the banner of the Swiss, all the years remaining neutral, saving passions for a kiss, the beauty of the river in cool shadows of the fall, recollections I dare not resign to indecipherable scrawl. Each moment ever cherished, I'll not allow time to erase, like when you jumped my horse right over me and that look that graced your face. Condemned to constant repetition, present merging on the past. Your heart could be our ship, your eyes and smile our sails and mast. You'd think I'd finally learned my lesson, sparing minutes to relax. When I entertain affection, some bugging Yankee do to tax. Heck, I got here in the first place, being faithful, staying true, while the nation I've been serving seems determined I'll be blue. Working tireless together, men got fixed at not like new. For every one that walked away, they brought another too. Like falling from the sky, they filled the whole damn bloody lane. Few afraid to die let flags a-fly, surrendering in vain. Linen pilfered from the shores at old Manassas Junction lay out still below the hill to serve another function. White cloths covered up in seeds, countless as my prayers. that those survived baptism under fire continue in God's care, that our hard-head rebel son can grow in strength and he'll mature, that my next imminent journey brings me back around to her, that this goodbye is etched like the very land on the river's course, this going without saying, Lord, please help me find that horse. And the country sure to heal, war like love will tear you, brought through the trial with hand and smile, the loving heart of Clara. Hope all is going well with you. My days are pure excitement. Mostly strange and saddened, though, some wonderful enlightenment. You won't believe how Clara rides. I'd almost swear she's Texan. We've had to say goodbye for now and still weak for affection. We saved a lanky rebel kid. Well, first I almost killed him. Some Yanks had made him play the clown, and sure enough, he thrilled him. He took our horse and lit on out, a bright red dawn behind him, and Clara jumped right up in front, not hesitant to mind him. She rides just like an acrobat no circus gal could rival. They'd sure have shot the rebel boy. She key to his survival. He took them bluecoats short on memory. Your horse flew over the crossing. They missed the shoal, hit all the holes, mounts rearing and a-tossing. I quit my sunrise swim and helped to get the wet heads grounded. And glad I'd gone to water there, a few would sure have drowned. Well, Clara come back walking with a look that left me frightened. That horse of yours ain't aged a bit, she says, like holding lightning. And none dared question her at all. Here, she's our holy guardian. Not that these boys have heed of her. They pass the battles partying. We spent the morning in the sun like some old lazy turtles. And last she'd seen old Concho had the kid out hopping hurdles. The island in mid-river, neither Maryland nor Virginia. Out beyond the hills I hear your horse's famous whinny. So me and Clara said so long. She kissed me like a sister. And that was just an hour ago, but seems like days I've missed her. One lightin' war's insanity that knows no moderation. Lincoln's wise to trust in her. If she'd but lead the nation, she'd make a dang fine president or War Department secretary. She says if I weren't spoken for, she'd wrangle me to marry. Besides, she's too young, but man, she rides just like a true Texan. I'm off to find that darned old horse and still weak for affection. The woods all clear of rebs and not a straggler left in sight. In the hills of Shenandoah where we've pulled back to regroup. No time today for breakfast and no supper took last night, though I admit I'm faring better than the average grayback troop. Fast up the trail between the railroad and the river, and if they stop for a short rest, I'll sure be grateful. I like running about as much as I like liver, but right now I could devour a whole big plateful. The mountains full and gorgeous in the changing shades of fall. Best appreciate not so pressed upon to hustle. These hills are heck for climbing. I don't dare slow up or stall. I'd gladly be back streamside fighting coons for half a muscle. Old Concho's like a Mustang. Ain't no horse more spoilt or tamer. In 20 years you'd think he'd mellow, but she's raised him up half wild. He's a pretty good old hoss, so I can't say that I blame her. He's always been doted on, as if he's an only child. Now I'm sure I'm gaining on him, crawling the same snake rail fences. The rebel ain't the type forever tiring or looking backward. Guess by now his noggin's healing and he's about back to his senses. I'm all winded, but still moving, legs slow and steady, pulling forward. The race goes to the swiftest, and today that's sure old Concho. Glad he's assured the safety of that lucky little son. The dusk is bringing rain. I got no hat, much less a poncho. And I detest this running, about as much as I hate a gun. Lacking speed, made up for with a dogged and quiet persistence. Moving all the evening, finally jogging quite a distance. This time I'm sure they're laying just beyond that rise. Glad for strong and sure determination I've learned in your eyes. My attitude all turned around. I feel like someone new, as if I know you're waiting there while I'm running to you. A flashback to the horrors of that bright September day, moving even faster still, as if I ran away. Away from all the tragedy that fills my story. Away from generals using us to gain their glory. Far from furrows sowed, the best seed of our great nations. Beyond it all, unto a strange, remarkable elation. Scurrying black rock squirrel down a Shenandoah shelf, running down the narrow ridge so fast I run into myself, knowing how you've empowered me, leading to deep inner peace. That and the wonderful sensation, bacon broiling in hot grease. You brought me right along, I never wavered from the path. To look at all the odds against us, I can only laugh. The vision I love most when you're responding with those smiles. And here it weren't that far at all, maybe 20 miles. Reb Kid barely taking notice, 10 on dough cakes just a sizzling. Could tell he got a kick though, it had taken me so long. Sunup found me tramping in, still steady, dreary drizzling. Thought he'd camped alone again. As usual, I'm dead wrong. He'd come on a straggler bivouac, led by a pot-bellied proud deserter. Coyote pack a pouncing from concealment in thick brush. Arkansas toothpicks brandished to the hilt and armed for murder. Come on from 5 directions, salting in an all-out rush. They'd cut up poplar poles for propping up a pine bough shelter. Barred one fast without asking, trying to keep 'em out of range. Never more alone, and yet right next to me I felt her. By your power, keep me living, Lord, if that can be arranged. Kid leaping up and hollering to the hairy-faced deserter. Wait, boys, this here's a sheepdog. He helped get me from the war. The one stood constant by his wife that nothing ever hurt her. The one that stalled a lynch mob till I was safe across the shore. No one seemed to listen. Might have slowed up just a trifle. Skunk moonshine breast old rascals, sleep and blood in every eye. He come up right beside me, bucking ball-cocked antique rifle. Settle up a sec or go in flint shoes, old enough to die. Old Whiskey Beard called off his mutts. Now, we is just a joshin', just toying with the stranger here, just checking on his nerve. First looked like some dang Injun, but the way he come a-sloshin', sure as heck it weren't no sneaking Yank a-huffing round the curve. This polecat wandered in with the first revs from Alabama, staying not love of the cause, but more Virginia honey ham, and fought insanely bold along Weeks Tigers at First Manassas. Curd shot straight from Kentucky jugs, not puny bourbon glasses. Blindsided, gained a moment and a vision pretty clear, providing reasonable doubt that he ain't known as long sincere. Donating no compassion to sympathetic preaching pacifist. 5 of them against nervous kid and me with just 2 fists. Skunk breath laxed a bit and his cur dogs dropped their guard. Swung my poplar sapling, hitting all and equal hard. I couldn't hold my nose, them overpowering fresh-cut pine, serving severe discipline while we had 'em all in line. I probably wouldn't have hit 'em with all my might, considering the reception, and I hadn't slept that night. Thinking about the meals you've made, I was slightly shaken, thoroughly irritated, All the playing's gone and made us burn the bacon. Reb Kid all of a sudden calm and put your horse in gear. Wasn't hunger craving, but had a hankering for a beer. Bushwhackers, out cold, bleeding, but I'm fairly sure not dead. Probably not proper deserving of short prayers for them, I said. Left to be ministered upon by whatever crawling vermin. Anyway, I couldn't count I'd ever reached them with a sermon. Down the valley a few miles, maybe galloped half an hour, stumbling on a feast, board spread beneath oak-sheltered bower. This horse, I swear, sure has a flair for timing and dramatic entries. I wonder we ain't torn asunder by a Dutch and itchy trigger centuries. The table's set for the general staff, and we ain't even invited. At our dismount, as if I brought an account, and I had just been knighted. Signal Corps set up all the road, sent word long ago he's a-comin'. And Lord, I declare, never beauty so rare in Virginia and Dixie a-drummin'. Officers at attention and giving salute, a whole beehive a sudden buzzin'. Oh, what a hootin'! Man alive, delivering Stewart's wife's second cousin. Give up for dead, imprisoned, or worse, forever listed as missing. Heart pounding so loud and all the crowd, head throbbing, hardly could listen. Jeb Stewart and the kid I banged up and hid like a father and son reunited. Took a quick walk, come back, barely could talk, the rebel boy so excited. Couple thousand mounts in saddle, outfit for an overnight excursion. I guess going to scout, and then I don't doubt some feint to create a diversion. What a relief. And now, by belief, horse warmed up, rubbed down and ready. The mission set forth. We're headed due north. That's all I could do to stay steady. The God I pray to night and day, awesome, merciful, and gracious, all heading out and likewise devout and amazed at a plan so audacious. The prosperous farms of Pennsylvania, far behind the enemy line. Faith in man and horse, and the weather, and providence divine. 1,800 hand-picked men, and only the strongest, fastest horses. Me and your warhorse filing on in. The legendary general and his famous forces. He's high-stepping, dancing, prancing all full of pride, cantering toward the Mason-Dixon Confederate cavalry guide. Moving out in quiet groups, 3 divisions of 600, with couriers in a lead squadron sent to feel out the ford. Under orders, no homestead on Maryland soil be plundered. In reverence our local scouts, divided allegiances and the Lord. Word is, I've a reputation, plainly practical, deeply dependable, and can interpret vague orders of sincere respect for my betters. Figured I'm mainly along for the fact I'm mostly expendable. For friendship developed, condolence poems and northern sent letters. The weather's still perfect. Mist and dismal showers keep us concealed. We capture the signal tower, silencing news of our movement. Mizzen relying on stealth and speed, and luck our passing goes unrevealed. Constant on edge and excitement of what clash lay ahead at any moment. Colonel Blackford on magic, a fit, lovely mare. Powerful spyglass constant scanning. Attired in calico, hills aflame, Maryland adorned in all her splendor. I'm always a mile up ahead, an eye out for infantry cannon. First time alone in months, heart back to business more tender. In territory little known, pause to gather details of the dominion. One stop the whole day endeavoring to procure a map. And delicate ladies, yet harsher tongues, choice words, expressive opinion. Losing advantage a tranquil interlude, cut in half my 2-minute nap. Now we rode into a countryside, a sure bet by God's grace I knew. And here I'm proven most useful, for the wandering spirit been blessed. A month spent rambling up every road, seeking the best prominent view, in perfect place between sunrise and sunset, to receive my vision quest. Well worth the trip. Ain't been nothing since leaving Texas and Louisiana, to rival the enthralling scene, unveiling a vast green panorama. A few hills over to the west, the Allegheny Continental Divide, seeming endless to the east, well-kept farms and fertile countryside. Frugal Dutchmen in barns threshing grain with hitched-up teams, cupboards filled, overflowing beyond our mildly famished dreams, trading yesterday's rolls for fresh-baked loaves and fat Conestoga Norman steeds, explaining in plain language the Lord's and General Lee's desperate needs. Had so much of my fill, bread, beef, ham, cheese, and turkey. I'm sure I could make a whole month on hardtack and a stick of venison jerky. One conflict refused a brown buggy bay, old gal swearing he's 35, and checking his teeth, she's good to her word. If a man, he'd be the oldest alive. The ride took us a long 40 miles. Chill and drizzle, a beautiful blessing. No sign of Yank cavalry. If they knew where we were, ain't none confessing. Rode ahead into Chambersburg. White flag of truce, but no one accepting. The citizens giving us most of the town, few maining, a cool reception. The same house where a year ago, June, I found friends in hospitable lodging. Some still at home, the rest all gone. Bullets and cannon they feared to be dodging. I confess we're compelled of the harvest they've shelled and the horses they've bred to perfection. We invite ourselves here for the harvest time beer. Turn quick back the same direction. First time in a year on a mattress, tossing and turning till right on the floor. Just couldn't get used to the comfort and was missing the great out of doors. My saddle for a pillow, your warhorse rubbed down, fed and shined. Up ready for riding promptly at 4, but I sure could have slept clear till 9. I'm facing a dilemma, and honest, I can't exaggerate the proportions. Monstrous serious situation, haven't blown up to distortions. Coming across the Dixon line, feeling more than hints of resentment. Some seeing me falling in so fast and settling toward contentment. Your horse's ears ain't laid all day since first we turned back southward. About talked me into lighting out due east and playing a coward. It seems the war has just begun, at least not yet half over. My sole desire, rush to your arms, your one wholehearted lover. They already have some brave good men, hard-riding locals, for guiding. Seems more a test what side I take and mark my methods of deciding. Back in Maryland, a humorous event, lady dashing out to avoid us. We give her chase, just in case she's for those that had destroyed us. She thought us Russia's lancers, Federals just inquiring about us. She rode back, opening her homes, claiming it wouldn't be free without us. Now we're all weary, saddle-worn, with the evening fast approaching, mostly just glad near to home. Don't sit well pilfering, encroaching. Our captain from this gorgeous land knows all the goat trails and cow paths. I know the river equal well, my place for prayer and cold baths. There are cavalry yet to sound a charge, though sure by now they've made us. Their story, we rode too far, too fast, else certain they'd waylaid us. Old Blackford's horse, the magic mare, rode day and night, never faltered. I took old Concho out a bit. He's bareback and just haltered. They're set to contest our crossing, but we're up to a fight, though sleepy. If that's all between us and bedding down, they'll be left in the river deeply. What a beautiful day for a horseback ride. Road soft, on top slightly crusty. No sign of McClellan's mountain corsairs, and thank God it's been damp and not dusty. Exhausted but not slowing, we made 60 miles, 20 hours. The field's all thick and ripe to mow. Yanks will be set for cornmeal and flour. And what a fine day for a feast. After fasting like for Yom Kippur. I met the New York Rebel last night, and since I've daydreamed of her. She's guest at the home of Stuart's close friends, I think Colonel Blackford's relations, and now are discussing religion and books and politics of the nations. Left us with butter and bread and cream in a crock big as I could carry, and advice to keep my head down low and not wait too long to marry. A little past daylight, we come on the stream, wide awake, but seems like I'm dreaming. A rider galloping in at full speed just as cannon and bullets start screaming. Miss Yankee Rebel, running in on a dime, acting cool, not the least excited, deciding to have a small picnic. I, the only one, lucky, invited. She'd found my journal and all of my poems, smudged up preliminary copy, declaring I've woven a wonderful tale. Truth gets boring and totally sloppy. Rode away from Virginia, away from the river, for what'd be my first action in battle, following close and keeping up, still without any bridle or saddle. She'd awoke in fright of a nightmare, seeing me past, present, and future. Dreamt she'd found me unconscious, covered in blood, but no place needing a suture. Concerned for my fate, she just couldn't wait. Like Elijah's own angel detains me. Third time's a charm. They've a beautiful form, and a raven-haired beauty sustains me. I'd settled on being a cavalry scout, unarmed guide, or swift horse courier. Heaven knows where tomorrow I'll go. I'd write Clara, but afraid I may worry her. The neck-deep crossing covered by guns, held at hands of Major Pelham, too far to watch, still close to hear, and near enough to smell 'em. She offered a basket of biscuits and chicken, whilst I commenced to indulge, presenting perplexing propositions, details not at liberty now to divulge. Apparently my greatest value beyond carrying messages and scouting, interested in troop strength, supply lines, times of movement, plans of routing. Bright eyes not allowing an instant ever considering to decline. Not manipulative, persuasive, encouraging spirit, pervading mind. Over lunch, learning basic signals and rudimentary semaphore. In the afternoon, prominent ridges and hills on both sides of the shore. Appears I stand distinguished, early riser, always moving with sense of urgency. Dangerous trapped or cornered, rising to any occasional emergency. Most impressive for my faithfulness and the fact I'm never tiring, devoted to duty, honor, and love, never stop short of inspiring. Old Major'd be proud, he had me figured even before I knew. And Stuart read me perfect, trustworthy as the sky is blue. I can't yet kiss free southern soil, but at least get to hug the border. Reporting directly to Blackford, following General Jebb's every order. Compliments to her art of kitchen science and triumph in gentle persuasion. I'm noting, when I'm almost home, something remarkable entering the equation. And still nothing so spectacular here to Texas and Louisiana to rival the beautiful valleys and hills and the ladies at Urbana. Fall in back, whatever's left, our regiment holding below Harper's Ferry. Promise to keep my head down low and not get gray before I marry. She'd led me on a roundabout, back closer from where we started. I thought halfway to Pennsylvania again, and not a bit broken-hearted. Passively overpowering, subtly overwhelming, and that's just a small sample. In every matter and word, fully passionate, and this is just one example. So I succumbed to her flattery and soft battering of eyelashes, sacrificing chance for a saber and one of them swell yeller sashes, holding up against the argument, so adamant, tan and tender, surrendering to tall sincerity, caving in lest I risk the offender. Certain being so lonesome so long left me obvious most susceptible. Proud after all I've been through, I'm remaining transparent, predictable. She left me with new purpose, all motivated like a man on a mission, to meet regular beneath perfect cover my love for the river and fishing. Outwitting any old woman with a hard-handled cornstraw broom, giving in with big sheepish grin, she'd seen through my wolf's costume. We're carrying on like fine old friends, trading love notes on onion skin paper, holding hands and friendly with sentries, unsuspecting the nature of our caper. We'll become like a national symbol, under God, indivisible, for the first time conspicuous, not looked over like something invisible. Continued with steady reports to the Pinkerton man and McClellan, more disposed than ever to exaggerate, but being exact in my spelling. Seems when I cross the southern lines, distracted, sort of prone to see double, rounding off counts of cannon and caisson, precise math still too much trouble. So countless lives been spared, needed reinforcements awaited, battles delayed. Besides, these black radicals may get voted out. Together we've hoped, we've prayed. Rapunzel. So much for swift return to Conestoga. Darling daughters in sweet well of farmer fell. And on beyond the mountains over Ticonderoga, far from my duty in our man-made hell. Love, let us reunite before another passing moon. 10 times, 10,000 sorrows wear my spirit thin. I cannot bear our parting, but I must go soon. An ever-present wish, soon see you again. From the heights of Shenandoah to the valleys east, I'll follow on the Rappahannock shore. My desire, our close reunion, not a moment cease. Like your hair that curls and all but sweeps the floor. Sunrise on thick frost sparkles across the hill. Like your bright eyes, the day I was rescued. A liberty achieved that moment frees me still. I'll spend with you each hour of leave I have accrued. High in a hemlock forest, in an Indian cave, where the swallows nest above our hidden falls. Continuing these memories we've made to save. Safe in your arms there when the eagle calls. The Army of the Potomac on the move, but rather had waited. Victory at any cost of impending elections motivated. Marching under plans on paths politically chosen. We're to pay the price soon on ground snow-covered and frozen. Drunken gamblers, spending what they haven't earned. Conscripting others for supporting their addiction. Spoiled children, gone used to squandering, never learned by experiencing death or lifelong affliction. Inebriated in power, fall easy prey to the seduction, pouring out over our backs their new inventions of destruction. Profit-driven machines, specifically designed for more efficient murder and grief yet in greater kind. Come time for butchering, almost admire the preparation. Must admit it's more convenient with the dirt covered in ice. Men in ditches, frostbite, and feverish deprivation. For my part, I swear the digging ain't nothing nice. These kids from southern Georgia long ago wore out their shoes. Stand up against their northern cousins, bothering pairs no longer used. Killing for a decent coat or maybe a leftover meal. Taught to charge and thrust the bayonet. Dare not to think, fearing to feel. Even cautious McClellan accepting calculated losses. Boys sent out on details I can't call but asinine. Though the week I've only made about 100 crosses. At this rate, they'll run short on will, and I may be making up mine. Well, I earned a month of leave, but promise tell no one that knows me. My vacation spent riding with a wiry kid named Mosby. Clever little rascal, expert planner, problem solver. Disdaining sword and saber for Colt 44 revolver. I know it about beyond belief, and yes, it's true, I have been drinking. Staying up till all hours, but probably not quite like you're thinking. No, I haven't changed my spots and taken fondness for the bottle. Getting used to jumping trains, going down hillsides at full throttle. Wreaking havoc on the federal lines, drawing out the opposition. Aim to keep 'em always on their guard, not set in firm position. Involved direct and dangerous espionage, and oftentimes gets risky. Showing up at Yankee cavalry camps, fresh tobacco and mountain whiskey. Swapping stories round a heap of logs, goading 'em not to retire. Getting greenhorns all worked up about taking heat beneath brisk fire. Time the bottles are all empty, men are passed out and snoring. Then the thunder comes a rumbling and Virginians come a pouring. Swooping down a sudden like a tribe of wild Injuns, caught so much in a surprise, can't find their pants, much less load guns. So I'm still at work a saving lives in all mysterious manners. No charge to call a bugle, no uniforms or banners. Keeping to the woods for cover, rarely breaking across a clearing, rushing in as fast as lightning, even faster disappearing. Officers are finally rising, pickets sorely hard admonished, all the while trying not to smile and acting totally astonished. Then I wait a day or two and wander toward a new destination. Seems I'm the only one and no relation to the men of Mosby's nation.